All right, well, welcome back. It's Thursday night, and I'm with none other than
Barrington. Just one
yeah,
word today.
going by one word. We're joined by another fabulous guest on Aftermarket, as it's a trend on the show now. But we'll get to it right after the beats.
Do you know my name?
All right, well, we're pleased to be joined tonight by none other than Larry Zeifman of the firm Zeifmans. Larry, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jim. James, and thanks, Barrington. Nice to be with you guys.
Nice to see you. So I was thinking, Larry, and I have seen you more outside of Canada than I have in Canada.
I had to check where you lived. I thought you were in Los Angeles. I didn't know.
The last time I think we hung out, the weather was a lot warmer.
Yeah, we were in Jamaica.
The drinks were a lot smoother.
We were in Jamaica in January.
Yes, and it was terrible. It was terrible. It was
work.
It's
awful. Yeah.
I don't recommend it.
Well, but we have to admit we were in Kingston. We weren't on the other part of the island, so there are better parts of Jamaica, right? But I had a good time. We were there for a Jamaica Stock Exchange conference, right?
Yeah, JSC.
I was speaking about. I was speaking there on Jamaican cannabis companies going public in Canada on the CSE, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's CSE and the JSE.
Yes. There was actually a trio of a band of merry men from the Canadian Securities Exchange, Zeifmans, and Quest Trade. So we did the one stop.
And it was actually our second trip with the CSE down there. I had been down there with Rob and Quest Trade and Michael Bluestein.
That's right.
A couple months before that.
Yep, newest member of our board.
That's right. Congratulations to Michael on that. I flipped him congrats on that the other day.
Awesome.
He was so proud of it. He actually posted it on LinkedIn. So thank you, Michael.
I think that's why he took it.
Social credibility. Larry, shall we preface that you are a who are you? I don't want to not do you justice by sort of saying, "Oh, you're an auditor or accountant." It doesn't do you justice whatsoever.
So, no problem. I have to think about it sometimes myself. But these days, I'm spending more and more of my time in the audit space, and lots of it in stuff that I a few years ago wasn't doing at all. Psychedelics, cannabis, stuff like that. Traditionally my practice, my end of the practice was mostly financial services, some healthcare, and stuff like that, and consulting to clients. But lately, it's been more and more audit, and I did spend almost 25 years as managing partner of the firm. But I don't do that anymore. I just sit on our management committee.
Right. So you get to do all the fun stuff and not deal with all the BS.
Yeah. Try auditing in the middle of a pandemic. It's not always fun.
Yeah. I guess there's challenges. So one thing we wanted to talk about tonight was obviously some of the shared travel experiences. I just think we can look back at our past lives and think about all the wonderful places we went to and how business used to be done, and maybe try to project out what the heck is going to happen next. But you mentioned Jamaica, and I know you've been to Israel quite a bit, and I've been there a few times. What are you going to miss? What are you going to miss about being able to go to these places and do business? What are you going to have a hard time living without now that we're 8 months into this?
I think the business we can do anywhere we are. I mean, I've spent most of the last 6 months sitting in my cottage looking out on the water, and I got to admit, it was fun. I was working 6 days a week. I don't work Saturdays, so I was working 6 days a week and basically right through, and because it's been just so busy, and I think that can continue. I mean, I think that we'll see a lot less business travel. What I'm really missing is I can't go see my grandchildren in Israel, so that hurts.
Right.
You would normally be there, right? About
about now.
Holidays, right?
That's Yeah. Or, we usually go 2-3 times a year. We have a home there, and we go back and forth a little bit. And so we were there actually just before I was in Jamaica. We were in Israel for 3-4 weeks.
It's a brutal flight.
That's what I'm missing. Air Canada.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if it depends where you sit on the plane, but yeah, if
Yeah,
you're 4:15 or whatever on in the afternoon, gets you there at about 9 or 10
10 o'clock
o'clock
in
in
the
the
morning.
morning.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then you got to get through
yeah.
that. And
I take a pill. I go to sleep. Wake up. I'm almost there. So
yeah, the way over is not too bad
doesn't bother.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way back that can be a little rough.
Oh, it's the longest day of the year, right?
Or when I lived in Vancouver, I once did the Vancouver to Frankfurt, then Frankfurt to Tel Aviv, which is brutal because you don't really sleep on the flight to Frankfurt. And then you have to basically drug yourself after about a 3 hour layover in Frankfurt to catch 4 hours on Frankfurt to Tel Aviv.
Right. At least Air Canada put a nice Air Canada lounge in the Frankfurt airport, so that's not bad. But I go to sleep where it doesn't matter what time I'm taking off, so I just take a pill.
Yeah.
Better life through chemicals, right, James?
That's right. Yeah. We'll talk about that. So what
I just want to jump in. I want to find out more about Israel because I have never been. What's the climate like business wise? Like how are you conducting business with your counterparts in Israel?
So I've been doing business with Israeli companies and Canadian companies doing business in Israel for years. I mean, we've been going back and forth for years. Almost about 20 years ago, we actually even spent a year there. Had our kids in school at the time there, and spent a year there in Jerusalem. So the business climate in Israel is incredible, and Israel is way ahead of the pack on in these times. I mean, right now, COVID has hit big time in Israel.
Yeah.
The second wave in Israel is much worse than the first, but there's so many companies diving in to come up with solutions on the scientific side. The tech side, the startup nation, it's unbelievable. We really have to get some Israeli companies onto the CSE.
No, we have a few actually. We have a few.
Yeah.
We have 2 or 3 and a few more that are
I think
tangentially related. Yeah.
Almost a year ago, 13 months ago, we listed 3
Wow.
in September. It was
I Am Cannabis, InnoCan, and help me out here, Barrington. There's got to be at least 2 more.
Those were mine too.
Yeah, we had the one that had Gronkowski involved, and then they've moved on. But yeah, there's a few, and the innovation is phenomenal. I mean, A, people are smart because they're all educated. B, they work really hard because they are working 6 days a week, and they are working literally from about 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night. I mean, that was my experience every time I've been over there, just working.
Yeah, it's really changed and transformed in the last 30 years. I mean, to a point where the country's become so entrepreneurial. Wasn't always like that. And the numbers are staggering.
Well, for the size of the country, for sure.
Yeah.
And all the other geopolitical stuff surrounding it. And the fact that it's, you mentioned Jerusalem, and between that and Tel Aviv, there isn't much else going on industrially. I mean, it's pretty small country, and there's mainly, smaller towns and stuff, but it's all happening basically in those 2 centers. And you go there, and yes, Tel Aviv is definitely changing rapidly. I mean, it's industrializing, it's getting modern because a lot of the housing and stuff is decades old. But you go to Jerusalem, and it's older than you think. It's really old. You know what I mean? Like, it feels old. It feels very historic.
Yeah, and new things are like 1,500 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So,
they'll find something. Oh, that's 2,000 years old. What's Canada's history, right? A few hundred years. That's nothing.
No, there's not much to it, but yeah, it's phenomenal. So yeah, whenever we can all go back, I look forward to going back and visiting. And
so you've been over a couple times?
I've been over 3 or 4 times in my life, 3 times professionally, and every time I got. As viewers of the program may know from other things, I did get pretty sick last time I went over there, so I'm not in a rush to go. I had some food at a very inopportune
because the food is terrific.
Food's amazing.
Yeah,
I've never had a bad meal, except the one meal I had at 3 in the morning got me pretty sick.
Larry, what's your favorite dish?
I'm a shawarma guy.
Oh yes.
We've talked about Hakosem on the show. Actually, Hakosem is the best doner. No, sorry, it's a shawarma in Tel Aviv. Go back. I'll post the episode. They created their own like book, like that was like a 100-page, full color page hardcover, $30 I don't know, like tribute to like chickpeas and shawarmas. I almost bought it. It was amazing.
I would have gotten it.
It's a
I
good,
know I would have.
good read.
So Barrington, how come you haven't gotten over there yet?
That's something you got to talk to senior management about. That's a great question,
We hog all the
Larry.
good assignments, Larry. Come on.
I'm really glad you brought that up. It's not a sore point at all.
Wait a second though. You were just talking about Jamaica. You've been to Colombia. Again, we're reminiscing here, but you've been all over the US, Miami. They know Barrington and Miami. South Beach is basically got a street named after.
It's not Israel. That's all I'm gonna say. No, I'm not complaining, but I will find my way there. I wanted to sort of shift to the business side. What are some of the things that you're seeing? Some of the companies, industries, sectors, either from Israel or elsewhere, elsewhere in the world, because this is our world. We're not traveling anymore. What's hot at Zeifmans?
Mushrooms. Psilocybin. It's nuts. It's nuts. I mean, when was the last time, you keep hearing from clients that their books are oversubscribed by 100%, 150%.
I remember a particular industry not too long ago where I was hearing that.
Yeah. Yeah, but that petered out fairly quickly, right? So so that's what's hot right now, I think.
And what particular part of that sector? Is it manufacturing? Is it growing? Is it cultivation?
It's really still on the development
research.
Still in development. Yeah, still on the development side. The guys who are just, coming about to list with you guys because you seem to have, I guess it's a good thing that you didn't change the name of the CSC. So because now you can really still be Canadian and cover other things than cannabis. So
that will never get old. That will never get old. What do you say when people refer to you as that? You're just like, we're not. There are other sectors, but
I think you say, you're always eager to jump into new areas, and you're ready to do stuff that other people aren't necessarily ready to do. I mean, that's you know what I say about my involvement in the cannabis space. I say I'm not a user. I'm a capitalist.
Yeah.
So how could I not get into it? And you guys are the ultimate capitalists, so it just makes sense.
We're just a mirror. We just reflect what the investing public wants. That's what we do. And
you're helping companies raise money,
access to capital.
That's right. In order to drive the Canadian economic engine. Well,
you'll have to excuse me for 1 second, Larry. I'm going to take a drink of water from a particular glass that I received.
I see Kelly sent over some of our swag.
Zeifmans.
I have to check out your
socks. Cool
socks.
And refreshing. You know what? My socks, because I'm in my basement and are very warm, are close at hand.
Because I saw I was watching the show a few weeks ago, and I said to Kelly, they're using swag from some other firm, We gotta make sure they get some of our swag.
No, it was well received and very well used.
Very good.
Although I have a second pair of socks that somehow I think we lost James, but it doesn't matter because we keep rolling.
Welcome to the world of COVID, right?
Yeah, no, this is not the first time. We just keep the cameras rolling.
I got a kick. I was watching a show yesterday where they had Ben Shapiro as the guest, and Ben was speaking from his house, and the internet connection was terrible. We couldn't get over the fact. Nobody could get over the fact that Ben Shapiro's internet connection was terrible.
You know what? Nothing has surprised me. I love. At the end of the year in 2020, or at the end of this year of 2020, they'll do the year in review and the year recap. I I'm a sucker for all the people walking by doing stuff when they think the camera's off, people entering, people, that
Some
stuff
of it's
has me.
brutal
And
though, eh? Right? The woman who went to the washroom.
oh, and you're just thinking, what if that was me? What would I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do. Yeah, that's why you just make sure always, how's my camera? What's it doing? Is everything off? Or just don't do stuff with your camera on.
I make a point that I
just leave it.
virtually never use the camera on my phone.
Oh,
I just use my
Smart.
laptop.
That's actually really smart.
My laptop doesn't
Yeah.
leave my desk these days.
Yeah. No, that's a pro tip. That is a pro tip. What other tips does Larry Zeifman have? Just being a man about the world.
So I've been spending a lot of time in the hockey space these days.
Oh,
I
hockey.
sit on the board of the Ottawa Senators
Huh.
and chair the audit committee. These are strange times in sports. Okay. Right. I mean, I don't know if you guys followed. I thought the playoffs were great. I mean, we weren't in it. We're still in a rebuild, but we had a good draft last week. But these are strange times. I mean, nobody knows. Nobody has a clue as to when when we're going to have people back in the stadium, and it's a guess.
Larry, I hated, absolutely detested summer hockey.
Really?
Until the puck dropped. Until the first puck drop. And I was like, I can't believe. And then they dropped it and I went, I'm in.
I loved it.
I'm in and I'm going to watch it. I loved it. It worked. And kudos. And we said this on another show. And so sorry for our listeners about repeating things, but the NHL, they got it. They got it right. They did it like hundreds of thousands of tests and not one positive.
Right. And baseball barely made it through a weekend without having to shut down, right? It was they really
baseball.
Yeah, football is the one that's in trouble right now.
But they really did a good job. It all worked out. And the hockey was great. And for me, I loved it because summer's a little bit of a slower time than usually hockey season is right in the middle of busy season, right?
Well, my son plays pretty high level, and there were a couple summers he played for, Coach DJ, and every time we'd see him on the bench, it's like, hey, DJ. Like it was good. And my brother-in-law's from Ottawa, so we hear about the Sens Nation.
Good. I hope he's buying tickets when we can.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, they support.
That's good.
They're Senators through and through.
Good. It's good. You said you were saying before the show that your sons just got drafted by the Windsor Spitfires. So
yes, he did.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
So we're not sure when that's going to happen because everything trickles down. But we just, the main thing is that all the kids, players, coaches, everybody just stays safe. And it's at the end of the day, it is still just a game, and you can't replace your health. So when you have that perspective, it really, really helps. But and everyone's going through it. It's not singling out a region or an area or a particular age group. Everyone's going through it. Everyone gets affected. And we'll get over it. We'll get over it and we'll move on. So that's
right. We're all in the
what we
same boat.
do.
Everywhere around the world.
Yeah.
And everywhere. I mean, we have to protect the older people around. They're the ones who are most at risk. But I think that for many of us are really lucky. We can work from our homes, and life goes on, or our cottages, or whatever, and life goes on. I basically I've been to my office twice, I think, since the day the NHL shut down. I never go in. I have people there that do because they want to, but not for me. My staff are all working from home. Exactly the same attitude. We have to keep everybody healthy. That's first and foremost. We can't service our clients if our people are sick, and we wouldn't be servicing and looking after our staff if we let them get sick. Now we're going to get into audit season, and we're going to have to get some inventory counts done and stuff like that. So that'll be a challenge.
Some people think that for whatever reason on January 1st, 2021, things are going to change. Like everyone is looking forward to 2021. Like, okay, this is
what's going to change? We're not going to have I don't think we're going to have a vaccine that's working, at least not up here, I don't think. And how's that going to get rolled out? I don't know. It's going to be a while.
Just wait. Like, look at what's going to happen with flu shots this season already. It's getting. I mean, I got mine first day. PSA, go get your flu shot.
Yep.
But and I'm not a doctor, so But the point being is you're going to have to, at some point there'll be lineups, there'll be demand, outstrip supply, and that's for the flu shot. COVID would be 10x that demand.
I called our local shoppers. They said,
mm-hmm.
Hey, and it was like 15 minutes before close. Like I was hoping to sneak in there. Yeah. They're like, yeah, no, man, we ran out. We'll let you know when we might get some. So,
yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah, it's COVID and trading cards, or sorry, flu shots and trading cards that are becoming these scarce commodities all of a sudden. Yeah, because I've been collecting, apparently all the people who were either baking bread with homegrown yeast or whatever during COVID, and collecting hockey cards and basketball cards. There's been this insane inflationary market and collecting premium cards and basketball. Larry, I don't know if you followed this, but as someone who's involved with the professional sports team, I hope the people at Upper Deck are kicking you back something for licensing fees, because we're starting to see an inflation curve.
Could certainly use it these days, that's for sure. But I hadn't even heard about that, so that's interesting.
No. What about the CFL? Have you got a line on that?
I don't, but I've been an NFL fan for a long time, so I know people aren't going to like me for saying that, but I'd love to see an NFL team in Toronto.
You won't ever see an NFL team in Toronto.
Well, we've got a serious problem until.
No, well, I talk to people a lot smarter than me who will say there's a few U.S. cities on their worst days will smash Toronto. Just the NFL won't. It won't. It can't. It can't overlook and leapfrog over 3, 4, 5 U.S. cities that would crush Toronto as far as being able to have an NFL team.
But the idea that Buffalo can have an NFL team and Toronto can't, I mean, although I guess they're pulling.
Yeah, but Buffalo's not Buffalo. It's Western New York. It's people who don't want to go into the metropolitan, and obviously people from surrounding areas, even Southern Ontario, Niagara, Toronto. And the reason I think it's got a more diehard following, and don't laugh at me, is because the experience of going to that game isn't the game. It's getting your car and parking it in someone's lawn.
I go down I go down with my boys every year. It's a lot of fun. It's so
absolutely.
Much fun.
It is great.
That's one of the things.
It's like
because October, November, when it's cold as hell and you're sitting at a Buffalo game and
cold and the beer is flat and fights are breaking out. And,
and the Ralph is not a great facility. I mean, we could rail on our facilities in Toronto, but it's in the middle of Orchard Park. It's a big field. There's nothing going on there. And, I've been there a few times, but one time the power went out and they just ran the game without a digital clock. Another time
it was late enough
flooded,
in the game, nobody noticed, I've been there when I was a few minutes late and people are walking around the stadium trying to figure out why they came, because they were so hammered already after tailgating.
Yeah. Oh no, it's an experience. And trust me, I'd love an NFL team in Toronto. I for sure, but it's not going to happen.
No, when they tried it here, it was a disaster, and it's because the stadium stinks for football. Oh, yeah. The sight lines are awful. And when the Argos were playing at Rogers Center,
it's short, a few thousand seats, right? Like when they built Rogers Center, it's short by just a few thousand seats from qualifying as an NFL stadium, which you got to wonder, who'd they fire for that? That's insane.
Yeah, just a little foresight. That's all. Just a tiny bit.
No, and I think you can hammer on it for the lack of space for a tailgate, but I mean, go to Seattle. That they just kind of make it up around the stadium, and it's not as good as Buffalo. It's not even close. But they make it work. They have the best fans in the league. I hate to admit it as a 49ers fan, but it's every city has to have its own special thing. I just don't know how Toronto would pull it off. So again, happy to have the Argonauts for as long as that league can run, and then we'll figure it out.
really not the same.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No.
guys.
No. It's the athletes are just at a different level in the NFL. It's just what it is. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground. So Larry, how can people keep in touch with your firm, keep in touch with what you guys are up to, and just follow along? What's your
Follow
best
us on
advice there?
LinkedIn is the social media for business. There's no question. I'm on Facebook, but I just do my personal and political stuff on Facebook. I hate Twitter, but LinkedIn I find is the one for business. Yeah, and our website Zeifmans.ca. Yeah, looking forward to continue to work with the CSE. I like working with you guys. It's and I hear from everybody that you're such a breath of fresh air. A stock exchange that has creative answers and solutions and isn't looking to make people miserable, but is really trying to help move capital along. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. We don't want to be a barrier to getting to the market. We want to help. So.
That's right. And remember, just in case this didn't make it earlier in the cut, the Zeifmans glass.
Zeifmans.
Zeifmans.
Quick shout out to Kelly Bird. Thank you for making this
Kelly's
happen.
Great.
So.
Yeah. Kelly, you're great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you
it's
for
a pleasure.
the socks.
I enjoyed this.
Thanks, Larry. Yeah, no, we as well. Barrington, any final comments?
No, because I'm busy drinking this cool, refreshing water.
Beautiful. Okay, well, this was Aftermarket, and if you like this show, hit the like button. If you want to follow us, just hit subscribe. We put out episodes of this every week. Tons of great content, like newly listed on CSE TV. So if you like to follow new stocks and hear from the CEOs of these companies that are bringing new issues to market, this is the channel. This is where you need to be. This is James Black. I'm with Barrington Miller. We were joined by Larry Zeifman of Zeifmans, and we'll wish you good night.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.